Hello everyone and welcome to another edition of It Goes Off. We just had round 9 and what an exciting round with one of the games of the season, a double overtime thriller with the New Zealand Breakers beating the Melbourne Tigers in Auckland. Unfortunately, my regular co-host Grantley Bernard is away on assignment, so we've brought in a very able substituter, 200-plus game NVL veteran with the Melbourne Tigers and the Brisbane Bullets. I speak of Nigel Purchase. Nigel, thanks for joining us. Big shoes to fill with Grantley normally in this seat.
It is, and I watch the show every week, and I can't believe I'm here with you, Drewy, and very entertaining show, and watching Loughton and Copes and a few of the other guests in the past, very entertaining stuff. So hopefully I can live up to Grantley's high level of performance here today.
Well, we certainly hope so as well. And when I spoke in the introduction about the form of the New Zealand Breakers, and in that game it was a classic game, double overtime thriller. Dara Coletto with 18 points, but it was the form of Thomas Abercrombie. Now, I've been on about this young man for quite some time, but he delivered 33 points and 11 rebounds in just a match-winning performance. He
is fantastic.
He's the modern-day Sam McKinnon.
He is, absolutely. And Drewy, just watching him play is just one of the highlights of the NBL right now. And for him to stretch out 33 points in one game, I know it was double overtime, so there's a fair few minutes extra there for him to knock down those points. But I'll tell you, there's no NBL All-Star game this year, but I'd love to see him and Lucas Walker going one-on-one. I'll tell you, I'd tune into that. Two of the best athletes in the league, without any doubt.
Well, both those guys were going head-to-head because Lucas Walker himself had a spectacular game. Those two athletes going toe-to-toe is fantastic to watch. And the New Zealand Breakers, though, they got the win. They're 7-3, going along nicely, but still no CJ Bruton, which I guess adds a little bit of extra weight to their win.
Now that can be a positive for them in some way, and I'm amazed at what Andre Lamanis is doing over there with Kirk Penny not being in the team this year. I think a lot of the pundits were thinking that the Breakers were going to head down the ladder, but they're currently sitting in number 1 position, doing very well. And if CJ Bruton starts to knock down some points, just good things for the Breakers.
And the Adelaide 36ers, they've only won 3 games this season. They're 3-6, excuse me, but 2 of those wins have come not only against the Perth Wildcats, but in Perth. Clearly, the Adelaide 36ers have got a little something over the Perth Wildcats.
They do. It's bizarre, that, isn't it? Because you would think going to Perth, which have one of the best home court advantages over there, it'd be even harder for them. There's a massive rivalry between the Wildcats and the 36ers, and just a great contest. I'm very happy for Marty Clark as well, who's been under a bit of pressure over there with not having a winning record at the moment. Great to see his boys playing well for him, and it's good news for the Adelaide 36ers.
And Diamond Simpson, he's a player that we've spoken about a little bit on this program, did some fantastic things playing at the University of St Mary's, but another double-double, he's proving to be a very, very good pickup for the 36ers.
Absolutely, and with him in good form and Adam Ballinger, probably a few weeks off top form, the 36ers have got some good signs ahead, and I'd suggest the Adelaide 36ers fans get out there and support the boys over there in the City of Churches.
Yes, well, they've got a big one coming up this Thursday night against the Sydney Kings, so a chance for them to get back in the mix. The Melbourne Tigers, on the flip side of that, the result we saw against the New Zealand Breakers, they've lost 4 out of their last 5. Now, a lot's going to be put down to the absence of Paddy Mills, and there's no doubting that he's a big talent that they're missing. But I think one of the big factors has also been the injury to Matty Burston. He's their really only true centre. Cam Tricard's having an unbelievable season, but they're really missing his size inside.
Yeah, the Tigers are having a tough trot, but I think it's a bit too early to sort of write them off for the finals. They're currently sitting in 3rd position, and adjusting to life without Paddy Mills is a real challenge for the Tigers. I'm really wrapped for Ron Dorsey, who started slowly this year, wasn't getting many opportunities from the perimeter, scoring well, and also Lucas Walker, who's getting plenty of time now, as we talked about a moment ago, and doing very well for the Tigers. So a big week for them this week, the Tigers. Let's just see how they go over the next month or so.
Yes, well, we spoke last week. I mentioned that I thought the top 4 as we know it right now and remains the top 4 after round 9 is still the Breakers, the Perth Wildcats, the Melbourne Tigers and the Gold Coast Blaze. I actually think that will be the top 4 at the end of the season. Very early.
It's too early to say. Come on, Drewy.
Well,
come on, mate.
Well, just on that, there's you've got the Taipans who's showing some good form. They split their games last weekend. You've got the Sydney Kings who are now at 5-6 and doing some, and Townsville Crocs at 4-4. They're probably the 3 teams outside of the 4 that at this point in time have got the best chance to sneak in. Who do who you liking the look of?
Come on, it's too hard to say. One thing is for sure, the Perth Wildcats will be there, the New Zealand Breakers will be there, and the fight for third and fourth position is very, very hot. Wollongong Hawks, maybe they're out of the running right now, but every other team I think right now are in a chance or a
Adelaide,
position.
3 and
Adelaide
6.
can make, of course they can. If Adam Ballinger gets his act together, I'll tell you, they're a very, very good side. But the fans over in Adelaide need to get behind the 36ers because they turn off them quickly. Get behind Marty Clark and the boys in Adelaide, and they can still make the finals.
Don't worry about the Adelaide 36ers fans. They've been coming out in droves to support their team in their home games, so some good things happening there. I actually saw firsthand on Sunday the Sydney Kings and what they're able to do. We saw some real good play for them in the first half. But they almost gave up the ungive-upable. They had an absolutely commanding lead, but down the stretch in the last minute and a half, they did everything within their power to give the Cairns Taipans a chance to get back into that game. And that's really been the take of them. There's question marks about their point guard play. They've got very good players in Bruce and Luke Martin, and they've got the solid veteran performers, but superstar in the middle, but really struggling in those critical moments.
Well, it's tough for them, and I think Ian Rebilliard's doing a good job up there in Sydney, and closing out those games is a real art in itself, and it's one thing to get the lead, it's another thing to hold on to that lead. The Tigers traditionally have had problems holding leads as well, but let's just hope they keep on going well and are a chance to make the top four come post-season.
Well, I'm sure there's a lot of other clubs out there that couldn't give a rat's toss bag about the Sydney Kings doing well, Nige, but you're right as far as the competition, a big market. Nige, we have a little segment on this program that we call Who's Hot? Who's not? Now, I generally like to stick to the more positive side elements of the game,
Sure
but Brantley usually attacks some of the more negative aspects going on. Have you anything not quite hot at the moment that's caught your eye?
Well, the Sean Redditch went 3 of 11 on the weekend, and I think some people have been saying that he's not hot. Oh, you know what I say, Drewy? This guy's a champion of the NBL. He is an absolute. He's had some hip problems, but just wait for the end of the season before you start judging Sean Redditch. He's a champion, and I think he's going to come good. So get off Sean Redditch's back. He's a superstar.
I don't know if anyone's on his back.
Mate, you're on his back.
I'm not on his back.
Then what we need to do, just wait and see how Sean Redditch is come post-season. He's going to be a superstar in the finals. You wait and see.
I'm well and truly on his back. I don't think anyone's on his back, but it has demonstrated in the last few weeks and he was only had 6 points on 3 of 11 shooting against the Adelaide 36ers. I think it shows how important he is to the Perth Wildcats, because when he hasn't been firing, they haven't been as smooth as what they normally are. I'll tell you someone else who's not quite hot, and it pains me to say this, is the Melbourne Tigers. They've lost 4 out of the last 5, and heartbreaking double overtime loss, but it's going to be interesting to see psychologically the impact that has on them, whether or not they can bounce back from that.
You know what, Drewy? Trevor Gleeson's a pro. He's coach of the year last year. A double overtime loss to New Zealand, top of the table team in New Zealand, is not such a bad thing. In fact, there's probably more positives to come out of that than there are negatives. And you wait and see how, in my opinion, up there in Cairns this week, what a game that's going to be. That should be the rivalry game of the entire season, because last time they played, the coaches at halftime went out a little bit, and it's just going to be a sensational game. Don't write off the Tigers. They're currently sitting third, and let's just see how they go over the next few weeks.
Oh, I'm not writing off the Tigers.
Mate, you're just writing off the Tigers.
I'm not. There's no writing off going on here.
You put them down as a negative, you see. I'm saying there's good things to come for Trevor Gleeson and the boys in red.
I'm liking the glass is half full attitude of you, Nigel Purchase. We'll turn this into a good one, please, because the Wollongong Hawks need a bit of positivity. They themselves have lost 4 out of the past 5, and led for most of the game against the Townsville Crocs, and we did see some of the better basketball that they can deliver. And Javon Catron was fantastic in that second half, 15 points all coming in the second half. But Sharon Glover, he only had the 2 points, only played 4 or 5 minutes. If you're not going to use him, then perhaps they may need to reconsider that point.
I'm trying to turn negatives into positives here, Drewy.
Please.
Sharon Glover, okay, he needs to get out there and have a crack. And when Leonard Copeland was in this seat a few weeks ago, he said shoot the ball. So Sharon, get out there and shoot the ball.
Well, he's not on the court, nice.
Exactly, good point. But when you're on the court, shoot the ball, Sharon. My point is this. I'm trying to find a positive out of a negative.
Please.
there's some pretty good blokes in there. Wollongong Hawks are good blokes, aren't they?
They are very
like
good
Matty
blokes.
Campbell, top bloke. That's
Saviour.
about the only positive right now I can find. I'm sorry. That's it.
Well, they've got some issues. There's no doubt about that. But Gordy McLeod, he's a genius, the little maestro. If anyone's going to turn around, it's going to be him. And they do have some good talent. Oscar Foreman had a very, very good game. Glenn Saville, he's a leader. He's been very consistent. Probably can get a little bit more out of them. So there's still some plenty of upside. But right now,
on the bottom of the ladder.
Not hot.
Lift.
Now we turn our attention to some of the more explosive things, the hot things that are going on. And Thomas Abercrombie, he's the lead act this weekend. 33 points against the Melbourne Tigers, and incredible athlete. Do you think that perhaps he is one that could be coming under the NBA radar?
Well, you'd probably know more about that than me, Andrew, but definitely he's athletic enough to be in the NBA. I guess where do you fit him into a side? Everyone seems to be taller. Athleticism-wise, he would definitely be a chance in the NBA, I would think. But whether or not he's skillful enough with the ball and with perimeter shooting is yet to be determined. I'd love to see him have a crack at it, though. Do you think he's good enough?
I think he's got the athleticism. If he could just get a little bit more consistency with that jump shot, then there's no doubt. I know some of the NBA teams are fully aware of what he's capable of doing, and he's still a very young man. MVP of the final series last year, so he's already accomplished a lot, but a very bright future and still plenty of improvement out of that young man. Another man that's white hot is Diamond Simpson for the Adelaide 36ers. He has just been very, very good. It took him a game or two to find the rhythm of Marty Clark's structure and the way they want to play, but 22 points on 10 of 12 field goal shooting percentage. That is exceptional.
He's a diamond in the rough, Drew. That's all I can say. Boom, boom. Chick.
Diamond with no D, though. That's how you. But
thanks, mate.
But no, he's a very good one. Nigel, great work by you. Loving the positivity. But I'm sure you're familiar with this program where we test some of the individual skills of the NBL players in a segment we call the 24-second shot challenge. That is where players see how many baskets they can make from the free throw line within 24 seconds. Darren Ning set a world record 16 straight. This week we head up north where we take a look at the Cairns Taipans, and today let's see how Andrew Warren does in the 24-second shot challenge. Well, there you have it. A very unimpressive display, and perhaps it's a bit of justice there, Nigel. Only 7 baskets. But here they are. They're trying to be smarty bums using technology to give them the advantage. What's with the throwback machine?
Maybe it's because it's Cairns and it's warm up there and they're all at Palm Cove on the beach. But I'll tell you, you can't be lazy. How can Darren Ning have 16? He didn't even put up 16 shots. You need to pass the ball back, fellas.
Yes, that's...
standardise a 24-second shot game, Drewy.
In the Andrew Warren, he got 7, but officially we're giving him a 6 because there's a 1-point deduction for trying to use technology. It's that time of the show, Nige, where we like to get people's feedback. We get it off the NBL Facebook page. We can hit my Twitter on Andrew Gage 10, or normally Grantley Bernard. He's another one that can take your questions, and it's a little segment that we call the Mark Zuckerberg Minute. And that's where we encourage you to join in the conversation which we're having here. And we've got some very good questions coming off the Facebook. And to the best question each week, Nigel Purchase, we offer an official Spalding NBL game ball. Now, is there a better basketball going around in the world?
No, there's not.
No, there's not.
This is the best. Will you sign up for the viewers?
Well, that might devalue it slightly.
Come on.
But the Spalding is not only is the official ball of the NBL, it's the official ball of the NBA. So get out there and get yourself a Spalding basketball. First question coming off the Facebook is from Nick Godsell. And he goes, which import power forward would you pick first if you were building a team? Diamond Simpson or Jeray Grant? Good question, Nick, because power forwards and big guys are a bit of a dying breed as far as the imports are concerned. You go back to the 90s and early 2000s, many of the teams were recruiting some of the bigger players, but these days not so much.
Well, I'd love to see more power forwards coming back into the league, but to answer this question, I've got to go with Diamond at the moment based on current form, although Grant is a very exciting player and great heritage, but Diamond's the one I would build a team around right now, Drew.
I think for as far as your offence is concerned, he's been able to put up some very, very big numbers, but as an overall talent, I think if you ask this question maybe 3 or 4 years down the track,
but we're asking the question now.
Well, right now...
Answer the question now, here today.
Well, you're talking about building a team, not in a team. So if you're building the team, then maybe Jerai Grant with his athleticism, shot blocking, what he can do on defence, but either way, you're going to come...
Great players.
Two.
Great players.
And I wouldn't rule out Gary Wilkinson either as a 4-man. He's another one who's a scoring, bit of inside-outside. And Elvin Mims, I saw Elvin Mims up there for the Townsville Crocs. Don't dismiss those 2 players either as far as quality 4-men in the competition. Next up, we have Matt Brockenbrough. Is that how you say it, Nigel?
Brockenbrough, that's it.
That's it.
From the Brockenbrough clan.
As the season has progressed, which team has shown top 4 on the ladder talent but aren't in the top 4 currently, and why are they not in the top 4? Now, there is parity right throughout the competition. Before you answer that question, Nigel, I just want to tell you, the teams not in the top 4 now are the Townsville Crocodiles, the Taipans, Kings, Sixers and the Hawks. Any of those you see with top 4 talent?
Right now, I think it's the Crocs and the Taipans are the 2 teams that might sneak into the top 4 position. Why aren't they in there at the moment, though, Andrew? What have they done so far in the first 7 or 8 rounds that sees them outside the top 4?
Well, really, they've done nothing wrong. But when you look at the ladder, a lot of it just comes to some of the anomalies in the schedule. You've got a team like Townsville only played the 8 games, and if they'd played a bit more with a 50-50 record, they could possibly be there. But getting back to the core of the question, though, I'm not sure any of those teams outside of the top 4 have the same talent as the teams in the top 4 as we speak.
You're joking. Surely you're joking. Look at the Cairns, Taipans and the Crocs.
Oh, they've got good talent.
Have you gone through the list and actually compared to the
have.
Blaze and the Tigers, and you think they're not as good as the Tigers and Blaze?
They don't have the same...
I think it comes down to form, and I think they're a red-hot chance to make the top 4.
Yes, but I actually think the top 4 right now are the 4 teams with the best talent.
I would say the top 6 are pretty close. The top 2 teams are fantastic, the Breakers and Perth.
Okay,
and they are my pick to make the grand final based on where we're at right now. Yeah. But I really like the talent of the Crocs and Taipans.
I love it.
And I think they're a red-hot chance to make the finals come post-season.
I love the talent they've got. But who then had the Taipans and Crocs got better talent than in the top 4?
The Tigers, I'm not saying better.
No.
Comparable. The Tigers and the Blaze.
Okay, well, clearly you don't listen to the questions, but that's okay. We'll oversee. We'll give you a bit of a spell because it's your first time.
Well, you're just writing off 4 of the 8 teams in the league.
No, I'm not.
4 of the 9 teams in the league.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying that they actually have better talent. But never mind. We'll move on. Jared Goddard. He's got a question for us off the Facebook page. With the Wildcats losing yesterday, that is, this question obviously came in on Monday. When the Wildcats losing on Sunday, twice now to the Adelaide at home, do you see them losing some of their aura in the jungle, or were they more just a couple of off days for the Wildcats?
Off days, don't worry too much about it, Perth Wildcats. Keep wearing red to the game and support the boys over there. But the Wildcats are a very good team, and once again, I get back to Sean Reid, he's a very important part of that crew over there, and when he starts to fire, the Perth Wildcats, unbeatable over there.
And Damien Martin, he's had some time on the sidelines, came back, but he's going to take a little while to get back into his absolute very best form. So when he gets going, no problems with the Perth Wildcats in my view as far as making the top 4. And their losses against the Adelaide 36ers, sometimes you just have those teams, the matchups cause you problems, regardless of where they are on the ladder. The matchups, the personalities, all those different elements, just for whatever reason, can become a bit of a bogey team. And this year, 2 losses at home to the Adelaide 36ers.
Who would have guessed?
Certainly
Who
not
would
me.
have thought that? I didn't think it, but it happened.
Certainly not me. Well, Nige, who are we going to give the ball to? You're, as our special guest commentator today, who are you going to give the ball to? Either Nick, Matt or Jared?
Matt Brockenbrough.
Matt Brockenbrough, a Spalding NBL ball coming your way. Congratulations, Matt. We'll be in contact with you and get that ball out to you as soon as we possibly can. Nigel, we say it every single week, but round 10 is upon us. We get into that that very pivotal stage where games, they're not just worth the wins and the losses. They can be season-ending wins or season-losing losses in the schedule. So it's important that the people out there know exactly where to go and support their team. Talk us through where all the games are coming up in round 10.
Round 10 on Thursday, the New Zealand Breakers host the Gold Coast Blaze at the North Shore Event Centre at 7:30. The Sydney Kings host the Adelaide 36ers Sydney Entertainment Centre at 7:30 once again. On Saturday, the Cairns Taipans, in my opinion, the game of the round, take on the Melbourne Tigers in Cairns at the Cairns Convention Centre. And on Sunday, the Townsville Crocodiles host the Sydney Kings. The Adelaide 36ers host the New Zealand Breakers. And the Wollongong Hawks host the Perth Wildcats in what's going to be a sensational round of basketball in the NBL.
Some very important games going on, and I agree with you, Nigel. The match of the round is going to be up there on Cairns on Saturday night. It's going to be on 1, so tune in if you can't actually get to the game, because I'm tipping it's going to be a sellout. The return of a Indayu backer, Ron Dorsey and Daniel Dillon, just a mouth-watering clash.
And Andrew, don't forget, last time the Cairns Taipans were down in Melbourne, it was Tommy Greer and Alex Loughton not happy with each other, a bit of biffo going on there. And maybe the most bizarre thing for the season to date was when Aaron Fern at halftime was walking past Trevor Gleeson.
Oh, yes.
Some words were said, a bit of confrontation, a little bit of chesty, and let's just see what happens.
Bargy,
They're the two words I was thinking, Argy, Bargy.
Well, let's hope there's none of that, and let's hope that they let the action speak on the court. But it's going to be an exciting clash. Get out there and support all the games that are going on. I tell you what, someone else is also very nervous out there is Grantley Bernard, because Nigel, your performance today been nothing short of spectacular. So well done, coming in, sitting in the hot seat of Grantley Bernard, and you've done a great job. We appreciate it. It's now time to give thanks to those that support us, Nigel, because we like to do that. We've been raised the right way, so we must give our appreciation. And it all starts off with the naming rights sponsor of the NBL, and that is, of course, IronNet. Connect better.
1.
And 1.
Centrebet.
Spalding,
Red Smart,
and Virgin Australia. And as a special treat, Nigel, one of our sponsors, Centrebet, has come up with a new promotion. It gives you the chance to win a singlet of your choice for free. All you've got to do is go to the NBL website, click on the Centrebet promo link, and all the details are there on how you can enter in that competition and pick up a singlet of your choice. Well, that's all we have time for this week. Tune in next week where we cover all the goings on in round 10 again. Thanks for your help today, Nigel Purchase, on the world's, and dare I say it, the universe's most popular NBL podcast, and it's called It Goes Off.